What's going on, everybody? It is 12:28 p.m. Saturday, August 14th, 2021, and we got some action going on in the market. We're going to go over, excuse me, some different charts today than we normally do, just because this is where some action is going on. We've been looking to start seeing some different assets break loose, and it looks like that is starting to happen. This is the total altcoin market cap. Of course, we're still hovering right here above that 50% retracement, but still below the 618, which, you know, this is that hotspot area that I've got my eyes on for some sort of action, whether it'll be a rollover and a drop or it'll be a skyrocket. This is where the battle will take place. At least that's what I'm putting my money on. Of course, nothing on this channel is ever financial advice, investment advice, tax advice, anything like that. Do your own research, make all your own decisions, and do not buy or sell or do anything based on anything that you hear on this channel. So with that being said, you know, we're still in a similar range here that we've been in. It's still looking healthy. Everything's still, I'm pretty confident, but not a whole lot to talk about there. Let's move over to the Cardano chart. Now, we have been waiting for some action here, and as you see with Cardano, the 618 got blown up, the 702 got blown up, and the 786 got blown up, and is now looking like it could potentially be building support on top of the 786. And if that is the case, I expect some massive action. One thing I want to look at here, we're going to look at price range, right? So we have the all-time high sitting right here at the top of the Fibonacci. We right now are, well, a little bit more than 10%, basically 10% away from the all-time high, guys. We're right there. And if that happens and we break through the all-time high and we get up into this is where price discovery starts to happen, is up in these fibs. And you can see you got a lot of room before you typically start running into resistances. So like once that happens, I mean, who knows? I'm not really like a price call guy. I'm just, but I do understand how these fib levels work. So we're getting a pretty clear indication that Cardano is ready to rock and roll. We will keep an eye on that. We're at $2.20 as of right now. Moving over to the XRP chart, where I have my fib levels pulled from way down here, just because that's where the main capitulation took place. You can see where we busted through our 702, 786, and then as you see, once you get into these levels, these candles really start to kind of rip. They don't have anything to back them off. Now, this is not a true interpretation of what's happening. Once it's blasted past this, we now need to pull back. Really, you can pull back even to here to get the whole story told, is where I would normally look at it. So we are battling at the 50%. Once we get through that, we're in that range, the 618, the 702, the 786, and onward, hopefully. So XRP is starting to crank up. I mean, when I first started getting my video together, we were only at like $1.18, and that was maybe 20 minutes ago. And we've already raged up to almost $1.25. So, keep an eye on XRP. This is my personal favorite digital asset that I think is set to just explode. Time will tell. These bull flags just keep setting up. I mean, I don't know. It's looking great to me. Moving over to the XDC chart, we have officially blown past the all-time high. The all-time high has reached up to 17 cents now. We're down here at 14.5, more or less. Still battling it out, but this is major bullish for me. Major bullish for me. This coin is tied to R3 and trade finance over at tradefinex.org or whatever that website is. You guys should do all your own research on that. This is a coin that has the potential to be a huge player in the coming months and years. It just recently broke into the top 100 coins and just recently broke $1 billion worth of market cap. So keeping that in mind, there is a lot of room for this thing to just go off. This is one I'm extremely bullish on, and you guys know that. And then we have VeChain over here, who has now ripped through and came all the way up to the 786 and met a little bit of resistance on this small time frame here. So we're going to watch that. As this breaks through and clears this price level, we'll be pulling the Fibonacci's back. But I did notice that it seems like VeChain starting to pump. I mean, we're at almost a 10% for the day. That's pretty huge. So that's another one I'm watching. Again, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or trade any of these in particular assets or any assets for that matter at all. But I am saying that as we're waiting for some of these to really start reaching out and to start cranking, I'm going to cover them. And the more of those you see that are in these top 100, which pretty much everything on my radar is, I don't really get down into small cap coins and meme coins and all that stuff. I did before, I made a few $1,000s off a couple $100 on SafeMoon and then lost money on a bunch of other ones. But for the most part, anything I'm looking at is going to be in the top 100 as far as market capitalization goes. I just believe that they reflect more accurately sentiment in the market and what is actually going on. Plus, there's a reason why there's that much money invested in a lot of them outside of like Shiba Inu and some of that ridiculousness. But we're not going to get into that. Moving on from the TA stuff. Tokenized real estate market could hit $1.4 trillion despite a slow start. A London-born advisory and accountancy network, More Global, has published a new report gathering expert opinions from around the world about the future of the tokenized real estate market. A lot of you know this already, but some of you who are new tuning in or have only been here for a while, I was out for COVID. I am a professional real estate architecture and interior design photographer, so this is exciting to me that crypto could be coming into play into some of this stuff. I think it is extremely exciting. We're just going to do a brief run through this. Tokenized property remains niche largely due to its relative novelty and remaining regulatory uncertainties. Yet a new report has noted that even if just 0.5% of the total global property market were to be tokenized in the next 5 years, it would be on track to become a $1.4 trillion market. Keep in mind, that's almost the size of the entire crypto space, guys. It's about 75% of it. Down here it says, until now, the expansion of real estate tokenization has fallen short of expectations due in part to institutional investors' hesitancy and the absence of an established secondary markets for security token trading. This, however, may be gradually changing, with the United Kingdom's Financial Conduct Authority granting an operational license to digital security exchange Arcax, I'm not sure how you say that, in August of last year. 1 year prior, Germany's Federal Financial Supervisory Authority had approved its first blockchain-based real estate bond issued on Ethereum. So I'm not going to go over this article much more. It will be in the description as always, but it's totally worth reading. I think this could be huge. I mean, they've always said real estate's the quickest way to $1 million, and those of us in the crypto space may disagree with that these days, but bringing it to the crypto space is huge. I think the fact that it would allow people to own fractional shares of real estate projects and properties is huge. You could essentially end up having like let's say like a big commercial property or something. Maybe it's a condominium building with 100 condos. You could then tokenize that property and release those as on a sale, and you could have hundreds of thousands of people buying into that property, which could lead to ridiculous amounts of funding, could really open up investment opportunities for people who want to get into the real estate market but don't have the financial means to do so, because it's not a cheap market to get into. You can't just throw $100 at real estate. It doesn't work like that. So I'm excited about that. I'll be following that much closer. Bitcoin whale abruptly moved $670 million in Bitcoin. Where's it headed? It says in just one single transaction, they have moved 15,000 Bitcoin. The transaction was picked up by the blockchain tracker and analytics tool Whale Alert early Wednesday morning. This is a great API-based Twitter account to have. Sometimes it's a little misleading because it could be exchange to exchange or even inter-exchange wallet movements, but sometimes it's very revealing. You'll see when a lot of stable coins start coming back onto exchanges. In my opinion, it's usually massive purchasing coming, and then sometimes you'll see the inverse where a lot of stable coins get moved off while they have taken profits and are waiting for an opportunity. It says, according to the data, the Bitcoin sum was moved off the major crypto exchange Binance into a wallet at a crypto custody company, Zappo, whose institutional custody business was bought out by Coinbase in August of 2019. The ratio of Bitcoin BTC on exchanges has now fallen to its lowest point since June of 2019. This 26-month low should be viewed as a vote of confidence for holders of Bitcoin, as large exchange sell-offs are less common when less supply is at risk on exchanges. Here's a list of the aforementioned and other large Bitcoin movements in the past 24 hours. So as you can see, we got millions of dollars of Bitcoin being shuffled around into wallets, some of it being moved back to Coinbase, to Bitstamp, and this, that, and the other. A lot of movement going on. I'm not a Bitcoin guy, but I do know that it's worth paying attention to because it does drive the market for the time being. And we're not going to get any further into that. But the IRS will not go after Bitcoin miners regardless of the broker definition, says report. The Biden administration reportedly isn't interested in applying the Senate Infrastructure Bill's definition of broker to miners, validators, or developers. A recently passed Senate bill would alter the definition of broker to cover those dealing in digital assets. Crypto advocates worried that could include non-custodial actors such as miners. According to reports citing anonymous officials, the Treasury won't interpret the bill broadly. So that is interesting. That's been a big fear for a lot of people. We will see where that goes. Here's another article that touches on it, where it says the U.S. Treasury to ease crypto concerns by clarifying a broker does not include those without transactions. That is a big deal. The tax provision is estimated to raise $28 billion over a decade. In my opinion, if the government is issuing that, that means over the next 10 years, crypto is not going anywhere, guys. You'll have some winners and some losers, but if they're banking on the infrastructure bill raising billions of dollars in taxes from crypto, they're not going to let crypto go. That's just a fact. I don't care. During the Senate voting on these amendments, even Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen expressed her support for them, which doesn't always make me feel comfortable. Yellen is an interesting character in this space, and I'll just leave it at that. But she said she is grateful to Senators Warner, Portman, Sinema, Toomey, and Loomis for working together on this amendment to provide clarity on important provisions in the bipartisan infrastructure deal that will make meaningful progress on tax evasion in the cryptocurrency market. I'm also thankful to Chair Wyden for his leadership and engagement on these important issues. So you always have to remember, when this news is coming out, all this doom and gloom, like it's so hard to navigate because it is terrifying at times, but is it FUD? Because you notice a lot of times everything will happen, all this news comes out, and then within days, these articles come out and kind of ease everybody's fears. Even this could be artificial. Financial news is ridiculous. I mean, buy the rumor, sell the news. You know, it's just, that's a real thing, and I'm not telling you what decisions to make here. I'm just saying, make sure you're always getting as much information from as many sources as you can. You should vet them all. You should vet me. The guys that I've watched, DAI and Brad Kimes and just Moon Lambo, all my favorite guys, I vet all their information. Not that I don't trust them to do it themselves, but these are investments. This is my life. This is my family's future. You owe it to yourself and to those involved to do your due diligence and do your own research. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to cover this article, but you guys have got to read this. This is a very big one. The way the Senate melted down over crypto is very revealing. We're just going to read this beginning part here. For months, there's been a debate over what should count as infrastructure. Roads and bridges, sure. But what about preschool and health insurance and childcare? Democrats say yes, Republicans say no. With the exception of broadband access, however, there's been almost no discussion of the infrastructure underpinning the digital economy. But right at the end, that changed when a meltdown over cryptocurrency regulation almost derailed the entire bipartisan infrastructure bill's passage in the Senate. The writer says, I'm going to try to do a few things here. First, I want to explain why crypto matters, even if you think Bitcoin is just gold buggery for nerds. The technology is evolving to be much more than a digital currency, and Silicon Valley sees it as the digital infrastructure atop which the next internet will be built. The internet of value, people. Ripple's been talking about it since the beginning. This is what it's all about. Elon's from PayPal. Elon's got satellites in space running blockchain nodes. So does JP Morgan. These are all facts that are widely known now. It's not about getting internet to every corner of the world. It's about getting internet to every corner of the world so you can put finance in the hands of every single person on this planet, because the underbanked and the underserved are large, and that's what needs to happen. And I'm not saying these guys are necessarily saviors either. They're in it for the money. Don't let them lie to you. But, that is what's happening. That is my whole theory that I base all my stuff off of. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. Maybe I'll do another video soon and remind everybody how crazy I really am. Biden has reportedly chosen a new CFTC chair to oversee the crypto market. In what appears to be a long overdue appointment, Rostin Benham will be named chair of the U.S. Commodities Future Trading Commission by President Joe Biden, according to an August 14th report by Bloomberg. The top derivatives regulator has been rudderless since the departure of Heath Tarbert in January. Benham was appointed as the CFTC's acting chairman in January, but he's yet to be nominated, let alone confirmed by the Senate. His nomination is expected to be officially announced in the coming weeks, according to an anonymous source cited in a Bloomberg report. As reported by You Today, BitMEX, one of the leading cryptocurrency derivatives exchanges, recently agreed to pay a $100 million fine in order to settle charges brought by the CFTC and FinCEN. In his statement, he has addressed the importance of adhering to a culture compliance. This case reinforces the expectation from the digital asset industry as it continues to touch a broader pool of market participants, takes seriously its responsibilities in the regulated financial industry and its duties to develop and adhere to a culture of compliance. In March, the CFTC also slapped Coinbase, the largest U.S. crypto exchange, with a $6.5 million fine for inaccurate reporting, but the investigation of the case predated Benham's time in office. In March, Benham opined that the federal government should have a role in regulating the cryptocurrency market as it continues to see strong retail investor interest. In the meantime, there are reports that a brewing turf war between the CFTC and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission over cryptocurrency regulation. And I'll be honest with you, as it stands right now, I would willingly hand this thing over to pretty much anybody other than Gary Gensler and his henchmen. I cannot stand the SEC, all their Goldman and JP Morgan roots. The revolving door is a real thing. It is ridiculous. I think they should all be jailed and shut down. That is also for another video. Living in Puerto Rico where the taxes are low and crypto thrives. Relocating to Puerto Rico to avoid taxes is simpatico with crypto's goals. Both are attempts to outrun the state and build an alternative system. Last half-hour reverse commute from Manhattan to Consensus office in Brooklyn was a meditative experience. The founding father of the Ethereum blockchain daydreamed ways blockchain could improve the world, from digitizing money to decentralizing the web, before stepping out of a subway car into a gray winter morning. He much prefers dialing in from a tropical paradise. Keys has moved to Puerto Rico in January of 2018, the height of the previous crypto bull market. He was part of a wave of early crypto adopters looking to take advantage of the island's generous tax incentives. It was a trend that once symbolized the excesses of the blockchain industry, which settled down during the bear market but is now roaring back. The reason is as clear as the island's waters. Puerto Rico is a tax haven. That's true for everyone, but the island's hands-off approach to capital gains, income, and business taxes is just what pro-capitalist state skeptics look for in residents. Call it simpatico in crypto with the bonus of getting to keep your U.S. passport. And then it just goes on and on and on. This guy says, I wouldn't call it a loophole. I don't think it's a hidden thing. Puerto Rico and other tax havens, those are pretty commonly talked about in the high net worth individual community. And make sure you read this article because it does go through some pretty interesting stuff. I mean, just look how beautiful it is. They're talking about making it a blockchain-based island with all kinds of services. It's just, look at that. I live in Florida, so we got beaches and stuff everywhere, but what we don't have is these lax tax, capital gains taxes and stuff. So maybe we'll be going to Puerto Rico soon. I'm going to talk to my wife when I get done with this video. Wrapping this up, we're going to get into some other things. Digital Asset Investor says, I believe the SEC goes after Ethereum, but not until after the Ethereum 2.0 release. There is too much money to be made. It will be purely a face-saving, credibility-saving play at this point. A fine that will be peanuts compared to all the money that's been made, white shoe boy style, aka Gary Gensler and all the banks in Wall Street. And I do agree with this. Goldman has been with Ethereum since the very beginning. Do not let them tell you otherwise. You can find reports of Goldman being knee deep in the Ethereum network long before Ethereum was even in triple digits of value. So it is very interesting, and I think that this graphic here is very telling. It's the pyramid of Ethereum, a centralized scam since its inception. Here's all your shitcoiners and retail investors. Here comes your proof of stake trying to switch some things up. You got your hard forks and your difficulty bombs. You got your Ethereum Foundation at the top, the DAO, and then here's Vitalik right here in the middle. Let's remember, 70% of all Ethereum was pre-mined before the release. Ethereum is not decentralized. It has a ruling class and can never be a neutral currency. I agree with all of this. I do also agree with the fact that the Ethereum network is by far the most developed blockchain network in existence as far as programmability goes. You have so many cool things going on, but this is very interesting. And I just saw this article that apparently explains why Ethereum is really a system of a ruling class exploiting a working class for the benefit of its wealthy class. I have not read that. If it's worth reading, I will put it in the description. This looks like, okay, whatever. We'll get into that maybe later. XRP closing in higher than Bitcoin on this metric is a rare phenomenon. XRP's fall that took the alt's price from its all-time high of $3.31 to under $1 shook its investors and traders. However, this rally came as a sigh of relief to those investors as the alt's price rallied almost 40% in a week. Oddly, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even BNB had registered lower price gains as compared to XRP, which was one of the top weekly gainers at the time of this writing, second only to Cardano. While the XRP traders have a lot of cheer about this, as the alt finally reclaimed the $1 mark for the first time in 10 weeks, it'll be interesting to see how the price rally unfolds for the alt that dropped more than 80% in the last cycle. This is totally misleading. It only dropped 80% in the last cycle because of an untimely SEC lawsuit, so that totally does not say anything. XRP's return to the overbought zone for the first time since its April price all-time high was nothing short of a miracle for the alt's holders. On the downside, since it is still down 70% from its all-time high, RSI in the overbought zone could mean that the price might fall after selling pressure sets in. But as long as the other metrics hold up, XRP could still sustain its gains. On this note, looking at the development side gave a lot of reassurance for XRP. A sentiment tweet highlighted how development activity rates for the top cryptos showed continued dominance. Interestingly, however, in a never-seen-before trend, the XRP network was closing in on a higher daily GitHub development rate than Bitcoin, which has rarely occurred. Let's go, guys. This thing is happening. Hopping over here to Cointelegraph, it looks like they're getting nervous. XRP has become an overvalued digital asset following an explosive 54% week-to-date rally. Is there a correction ahead? Come on, guys. Calm down. Is it overbought? I don't know. I think it's undervalued still. I think it's being artificially suppressed by the SEC and many other government bodies. Additional gains anticipated. Despite overvaluation risk, other traders believe XRP is poised to continue its bull run because it's one of the only top 10 coins that has yet to set an all-time high in this bull run. That is a fact, guys. For instance, independent market analyst Donald thinks XRP could sprint towards its all-time high merely because it has broken above a so-called resistance area as shown in the charts above. But at the same time, if its all-time high is the end of the run is near. Well, in previous bull runs, XRP was the final asset to go off, and that is true. A lot of people think this thing could go anywhere from $10 to $100 this year. I'm kind of in that $15 range. If it hits that, I will be selling some of mine, and not majority of it, but enough to get back all my initial investments for my entire portfolio. For every investment I've made in the crypto space, and I will secure that, and then I will sit back and watch this thing go crazy over the next several years. That's not financial advice, that's just what I'm doing. Digital asset investor also said you almost have to wonder if somebody knows something about a certain SEC lawsuit, and I think the reason he's saying that is because all of a sudden XRP has started to rage out of nowhere, which is very, very interesting. And with that, I'm going to wrap this thing up, guys. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at TruePerception3. We got to grow this thing. I am catching up to the amount of people I follow. I've never had these numbers switch spots, so I think it would be super cool to see. It gets me excited thinking about it. Make sure you like the video. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. I'm still trying to pound my way to 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch hours so I can apply for my YouTube partnership. Once that is achieved, I will be doing a $1,000 giveaway. It will be $1,000 of assorted crypto. I don't know what cryptos that will be at. I'll probably release some sort of poll to my viewership so we can decide what you guys would like. It'll be from stuff I already hold. I'm not going to purchase $1,000 for a giveaway purpose. I don't know if I can even host the giveaway on YouTube, Twitter, or any of that. I have to figure out where I can do that and not get my account banned or something crazy, because as some of you know, they shut my account down about a month ago for absolutely no reason, and thankfully my appeal was honored within 24 hours. It was a algorithmic mistake on YouTube's end, but since that has happened, I am being very cautious to make sure I do not include anything that might get me copyright hits or anything of that nature. And with that, man, stay bullish, guys. Stay vigilant. Everything is coming on hot right now. I think good things are around the corner, but you still need to pay attention because it's crypto and you don't know. Anything can happen at any time. I will talk to you guys on the next video. Take it easy.